My name is Benton Stokes. I'm a former fundamentalist, post-evangelical worship leader, and songwriter. I enjoy wry Manhattans, roller coasters, and road trips, just not all at the same time.
I'm Elane O'Rourke, and I'm a teacher, an author, and a spiritual coach. I was a philosophy professor and a liberal pastor in a couple of former lives, and these days, I love aha moments and not-so-dry martinis.
We have conversations about life and God with a queer perspective, over cocktails, like you. This is Cocktail Theology.
So today, we're having a cocktail with an ingredient that I've been a little skeptical of. I haven't enjoyed it in the past.
Do I smell mezcal?
Yes, you do.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just so excited.
But we are going to try it. Ooh.
I like many mezcals. I do not like all mezcals.
This one's pretty mild on the smoky meter.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the ways they're rated. Like you can find out sort of how smoky they are.
Oh, yeah.
Which is nice. So what is this that we're drinking? Anyway.
This is called The Closing Argument. And it's from Difford's Guide, which we like a lot. They actually have, and I'm surprised that I had never found this before, but they actually have like top 20 cocktails with various spirits. And they're not they're not just the major spirits. They're also like chartreuse, for instance.
Suze.
Or,
that would be good. That'd be
Chinar,
a good one.
things like that. So I went looking on mezcal because we had this bottle of mezcal.
We have like 3 bottles of mezcal right now.
So I found this.
Okay.
And because we happen to have green chartreuse right now, this also has green chartreuse.
Okay.
It has Luxardo Maraschino and lime juice. Equal parts.
Really?
Yeah.
I tasted the maraschino and I tasted the chartreuse, but I didn't know what I was tasting.
Yeah, it's really balanced.
I like that.
It's really balanced, and the smoky thing is incredibly subtle. Mm-hmm. And I was afraid the lime was going to be too much, but it's not.
Not even a little bit. Well, I mean, both the chartreuse and the maraschino have quite a bit of body to them, so it makes sense. But, I mean, if you're thinking about it, it's 2 parts liqueur.
Right.
But yeah, very tasty. The color's pretty, too.
I like this. Yeah, it is.
I've been looking for a bedspread in this color.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I could get a bedspread and just dye it and suck all the drink out of it.
I'll take a picture. Maybe you can find it.
Well, what are we talking about today, sir?
Today we are talking about forgiveness. Forgiveness is tricky, to say the least. And I think particularly Christians can have a very warped view of what it means to forgive someone, or what it means to be forgiven.
Yes.
What that means, what the expectations are, when you need to do that, when you need to maybe not do that, or at least not do it yet.
Right. This is a major topic for me, not so much personally in my life, but as both a teaching and a counseling.
Well, it's something that comes up so much.
Yeah. I think forgiveness and grief in the things I wind up doing spiritual direction about or counseling about, those are the 2 things that eventually must come up.
Yeah.
Are forgiveness and grief.
Yep.
If it's okay, I want to start with the observation I made some time ago, and I'm sure I'm not the first one to make it. Mm-hmm. When I think about people of color, particularly in our country, and I'm thinking particularly about Black people, but it's not just Black people.
Yeah.
There has been complete adulation if a Black person, or particularly a family, forgives the killer of their child.
Yeah.
And so, for example, if a police officer shoots a Black kid and the police officer is brought up on charges, it's been almost de rigueur that the family would almost immediately forgive. There are 2 things in that I think are really important that point to the problem with forgiveness.
Yeah.
The first is that traditionally in our country, Black folks have been thought of as being either Christian or Muslim, but particularly Christian.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Sure.
And as Christians, we are often encouraged to forgive, as you point out. But the other one being that also traditionally in our country, although we're not alone on this, people who are subjected to oppression and abuse are also expected to forgive their oppressor or their abuser. And that's part of the cycle of oppression and abuse.
Right, right.
So if you're talking about a child who is being abused, there's this mental thing that happens that's sometimes intentional and sometimes not, where the abuser either asks for forgiveness or expects forgiveness and blames on the child. The child, again, subconsciously or consciously, in order to maintain the relationship with the abuser, forgives, and it just keeps the cycle going. You see this in child parent, you see it in spousal, you see it in all those things, right?
Yeah.
So I want to lift up that one of the problems with the way we think about forgiveness is that there is an undue burden that falls on people who don't have power or who have less power to be forgivers of people who oppress or abuse them.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting about that? So I just really want to lift up. Okay. You don't have to forgive your oppressor or abuser.
Yeah. There you go.
So done. What's interesting about that is it really goes back to the Roman times.
Okay.
So in ancient cultures, particularly in Roman culture, but this is true in other cultures as well, if you were a person who had power, you could be wronged. On a simple example, if I own a lot of things and you steal one of the things, that's a wrong against me. You don't have anything for me to steal, so there's nothing I can't steal from you in the same way, right?
Right.
But there was also this idea that it wasn't possible for someone with more power to harm someone with less because someone with less didn't have any rights to begin with. That whole notion of rights didn't exist.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Okay. So that idea that, in Roman times, a slave, a Jew could be wronged by Rome made no logical sense. Like there was no way for them to parse that. Not unlike the relationship between an oppressor and the oppressed, abused and abuser, right? So it's all part of this screwed up notion that we have of forgiveness. So when Jesus comes along and he starts talking about forgiveness, and it's even actually it's more Paul, right? The whole way he's thinking about it is completely antithetical to what was going on in the culture at the time.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
So if you try to forgive like Jesus forgave, and actually Jesus so many things. There are just so many things. So if you think about Jesus on the cross, he asks his Father to forgive. His Father has the power to forgive. Jesus doesn't have the power to forgive in that culture. He can't do that.
Right.
He doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Only one who can forgive those people is the Father, because the Father has the power.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. And then the other times where we hear forgive, it's more like Jesus is relating to the spirit world or to something else rather than to other people. So there's this texture of who actually has the power to forgive.
Okay.
So then when we take that and we try and say, you should forgive like Jesus forgave, it misses like all of the nuance of all of that. None of that to say that you shouldn't forgive people. But it's not what we think it is. And if we've been reared as Christians, particularly if we've been reared as Christians of a lower class or a lower status, our understanding of forgiveness is usually really messed up.
Yeah, I can see that.
So there's that.
Okay.
So what's your experience with, like, when you say, I forgive? Well, first of all, can you think of an example of a time when you have forgiven or wanted to, like, is there an example in your brain?
Yeah, I have an example. I was in a long relationship, and when the relationship ended, I had a lot of anger and a lack of resolution, and just a lot of jumbled up thoughts and feelings about the whole thing. And while there wasn't something specific that the person did to wrong me or abuse me, I needed to forgive them for what I was holding against them.
Right.
But it took me a long time. Right. And because we've had many conversations about forgiving, I wasn't so hard on myself, and I thought, this is going to take time.
Good.
And so I allowed myself to grieve it. I allowed myself to talk about it a lot in therapy and pray about it. And eventually I got to the point where I realized, oh, you know what? I think I've forgiven this person. And
interesting.
It took
you
a long time.
reflected back, though, and noticed that you'd forgiven.
There wasn't like this aha moment, I think. I think it was just like the working through it and working through it and working through it.
Right.
Until finally I realized, I'm not holding anything against this person anymore. And I'm able to recognize what happened. I'm able to say, I released this person from what I was holding against them. And I really wish them no harm. And so at that point, I was just like, okay. And it was sort of like a weight had lifted off of me when I wasn't carrying that around anymore. And it didn't mean that everything was hunky-dory, and it didn't mean that I reconciled with that person.
I was going to ask you whether, like, you ever reached out and said, you know what, I forgive you.
No.
Okay.
No. I didn't feel it necessary to do that.
Okay.
So, I think for me, at least in that situation, it was all kind of tangled up with grief and other emotions that I needed to fully process before I could even approach saying, I forgive this person for what I'm holding against them.
Right. I'm glad you brought up grief. So often, I mentioned a moment ago that when I'm doing counseling, I'm doing spiritual direction, grief and forgiveness, they come up. And I'm glad you brought it up because that connection between needing to grieve a loss or grieve a feeling of betrayal or, whatever it is, that is so powerful and it's so profound and so deep that I believe that work has to happen before or concurrently with forgiving the other person.
Yeah.
Similarly, if you're a person carrying around a burden of guilt, you have to do the grieving and the dealing with shame and dealing with all those things in order to accept forgiveness.
Yeah.
I think about things that I've done in my past that I felt were wrong, and I think were wrong. I think objectively they were wrong. But I had to deal with all the feelings about it, about knowing I had done something wrong.
Right.
Not even forgiving myself exactly, but just dealing, like just kind of really getting that I felt grief and despair over having done these wrong things.
Yeah.
In order to even think about being forgiven.
Right. Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was somebody I felt like I had wronged, and I went to the person after years and said, I really believe that I wronged you in this particular way. And the other person just kind of like raised an eyebrow and went, no idea what you're talking about, but okay. And I said, I took that and I was glad to hear it. And I think the person was saying something true for that person. But then I walked away and went, okay, wait a minute. I know this happened. My perception of it was so different than the other person's like it felt so much bigger to me than to the other person.
Right.
That I had to like work through that before I could finally go, okay, wait a minute. In whatever way forgiveness means here, I'm long forgiven on this.
Yeah.
Well, how weird is that? like does the other person have to say, yes, you hurt me, it was terrible, I did it. In order for me to like, it's just way more complicated on the human level.
It really, really is.
Right. Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up. So the definition of forgiveness that I always use that I think is actually useful, not just for me, is that forgiveness is releasing your right to revenge or repayment or recompense.
Yeah.
the words in that are really important. So you release something. It's not like you do anything out in the world. It's about something you let go of. So that's why you can suddenly look back and go, wow, I've forgiven somebody, is because you've released it, right?
Yeah.
So you release your right. The second piece of it is that you recognize you have a right to something.
Yeah.
You have a right to an apology. You have a right to punishment of the other person. You have a right to get your money back. So you release your right to revenge or to repayment. And those are the two things that come out of having been wronged. You either have a right to revenge the person or you have a right to be repaid. And if, repayment is, if you're talking about it just in terms of money, that one's easy, right? Revenge doesn't mean that you're going to, take out their family, right? All revenge means in this context is an action towards the other person, right? But if you think about forgiveness as releasing your right to revenge or repayment, then it really has nothing to do with the other person.
That's right.
I mean, it does, but they don't have to know about it.
Exactly.
There doesn't have to be any, as you were pointing out, there doesn't have to be any reconciliation. It's really about saying, I have a right to feel the way I feel. I have the right to be repaid or to take vengeance. And I don't need to act on that. And I'm not going to need to act on that ever.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Which is very different than this person was right, or this was okay, or, now I should be buddy-buddy with this person.
Right.
Because that's not what forgiveness is.
No.
Forgiveness is saying, I whatever right I had to get back at or get from this person, I'm letting go of it.
I'm letting it go.
It's one of the reasons that we're often advised, if someone asks us for a loan, to never loan somebody money. Never loan anybody anything. Giving it to them or loaning it in big scare quotes, understanding you may never get it back, unless you can do that, unless you can say, I'm going to give this and never actually want it back.
Right.
You're setting yourself up for having to forgive a debt. And you're setting the other person up for having to forgive a debt.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So in terms of when you shouldn't forgive, it's not about holding the grudge. It's about remembering what you're doing. And I find that a lot of times not a lot, because I'm not a very vengeful person, or, I don't have a lot of this, but there will be times when I think I've forgiven somebody, and then something will well up in me, like, dang it, I should, and then I'm like, well, look at that, looky there. So much for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
Oh yeah, total sense. Yeah, and I think rushing to forgive someone, or being expected to rush to forgive someone, is just so unhealthy, because at that point you have said everything is okay, and maybe even you're expected to reconcile with this person, be friends with this person, or whatever, and yet you still carry this around.
That's right.
And how much harder is it to let something go when you're expected to pretend like you've already let it go? Right.
Well, then there's the whole minimization of what you were feeling. Like, it is so easy, going to an example like abuse, it's so easy to intellectually forgive and still be carrying around all the wounds of that, right? I think one of the challenges of being aware of human foibles in the best possible sense, intellectually too young, is you forgive all kinds of things that maybe you're just not in a position to forgive.
Yeah.
Right? So if you understand, for example, that your parents are human beings and screw up too young, you don't process whatever feelings you have about whatever happened. Like, forgiving our parents is something that we're supposed to get to. And the fact is, every parent disappoints every child at some point.
Sure.
That deep forgiving your parents is supposed to be, as you come into maturity, you recognize, oh, human beings, here's where they could be expected to screw up. Here's where specific things, they're not good and I should, But I think a lot of us, particularly those who were pretty independent, pretty smart, or had to take care of our parents in one way or another, we forgive them really early. And it isn't so much forgiveness as understanding this person's a screw up in this way. And I can't blame them for being a screw up in this way. That's not something they're intending to do. But as a result, we don't process it. And then we're in therapy at 40 or 50 and going, okay, but I don't understand why I'm still, and it's that forgiving too soon.
Too soon.
Right? And that's not even intentional forgiving. It's an understanding that people are messed up.
Yeah.
All people, all of us are messed up. Letting people off the hook because you understand they're messed up is in some ways good for them, in some ways not good for them, because they don't actually ever have to deal with the consequence of their actions.
Right.
But also isn't great for you because you're always cleaning up. You're doing the whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's way more complicated.
It is.
So releasing your right to revenge or repayment. That's the one to go with.
That's a great definition to go
Thank
with.
you. Thank you very much.
Listeners, we love hearing from you. Talk to us about forgiveness. When have you forgiven someone? When have you asked for forgiveness? When have you been forgiven? What did that feel like? We love hearing from you. Give us ideas for mezcal cocktails. We need more. Difford's only gave me 20, so I need more.
That's right. Well, and someone who considered listening to us decided that they couldn't listen to us because a combination of talking about Christianity in any way and talking about cocktails was just not okay.
It was just not enough.
So if you want to send recipes for mocktails to that person, email me and I'll give you the handle on Instagram.
I love that. Yeah, do get in touch. Cocktailtheology.com is where we are always. We'll be here drinking mezcal. Till next time, friends. See ya. Funny how the view can change, how life just seems to rearrange itself. No matter what it was, I don't know how it goes, but look, moving on feels pretty good. Moving on feels pretty good.
If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like and hit subscribe wherever you're listening right now. We welcome your comments, questions, and ideas for conversations and for cocktails. Please get in touch with us at our website, cocktailtheology.com. Cocktail Theology is a production of SFS. Our theme song is Moving On Feels Pretty Good, recorded by yours truly, Benton Stokes. You can find my music wherever you stream your favorite artists. Join us next Thursday for another new episode.